Welcome back to the channel, everybody. I am Letsgettothemoney. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I would greatly appreciate that. And if you could, please click that like button, turn it into a rocket, and send it to the moon. And also, if you use anything that keeps you from viewing the ads and such like that, please whitelist me. I would greatly appreciate that. It helps support the channel and keep the channel growing. If you appreciate the work here, please whitelist Alphaneem. Now, we just had massive news come out about Stellar in the Ukraine. So we're here on CoinDesk.com, and the article begins as such. Ukraine commercial bank to test digital currency built on Stellar. Keep in mind, this is just a commercial bank. This is just a commercial bank, but it's the beginning. Remember, their digital consortium over in the Ukraine has already agreed to implement Stellar on every single level of their financial system. So what we're seeing right now is these are just baby steps, although it's massive news. Very, very good. Keep in mind, these are just baby steps, okay? So let's read the article here, which is written by Sandali Handagama, all right? And it begins as such. One of Ukraine's oldest commercial banks, Tascom Bank, is planning to test the electronic hryvnia, a digital version of its sovereign currency. The electronic hryvnia will be built and tested on the Stellar network and be deployed via global fintech platform BITS Digital Currency Management System, DCMS. The bank said in a statement published Tuesday, the pilot will test the digital currency's effectiveness in public employee payroll. So let's stop right there. Public employee payroll. That means there's going to be a constant high transaction volume. This is very good. It's going to really put the network to the test. It's going to get that volume to rise up. And keep in mind, like I said, this is one commercial bank. All right. So imagine when all of them start to roll this out, test this, and that volume is going to go through the roof. Now, what the average transaction value is going to be remains to be seen. However, we're going to get into a few numbers in this video. We need to always know how much capital could possibly be flowing through the various corridors. We've been preaching that for a long time here on the channel. And we put everything to work. So we're going to do that in a little bit, and we'll take a look at a few numbers. Bear with me. Peer-to-peer payments and merchant payments. So they're testing this out in a bevy of ways. This is great progress. Now, I also know what a lot of people are going to say that, Alphaneem in that video yesterday, he told us some big news is going to come. This is great news. This is not the big news that I was talking about. This is great news, great progress, and we'll see how this affects the system and what's it going to do to that price. We'll see, but this is not the big news I was talking about. When the news comes out that I was talking about that nobody can talk about just yet, you got to be quiet about it for legal reasons. If that big news comes out, if they're able to pull off a few of those deals, you will know. Raise it tall. That price is going to raise. Trust me on this. But this is great news. So let's continue on here. Tascom's deputy chairman, who is responsible for e-commerce, said the pilot is supported by Ukraine's Ministry of Digital Transformation. As I said before, their Ministry of Digital Transformation, or rather their digital consortium, has already said they want to implement Stellar on every single level. Now they're making a big push. It's a race right now to who's going to be releasing their CBDCs first, and for a lot of reasons. There's a lot to do with power, control, also supervisory bodies, and how much influence those supervisory bodies are going to have on commercial banks who have not begun to adopt digital currencies and blockchain technology. Those supervisory bodies are going to lean heavily on them to utilize the protocols that they want them to use. For example, all of the commercial banks that are under the European Central Bank will be influenced by what the European Central Bank deems is acceptable to be used for their digital currency rails. However, if you roll yours out, if you start building and utilizing cryptocurrency rails before the European Union makes a decision on what type of CBDC it wants to roll out. Now you have a little bit more leverage to say, listen, we already have a working system. This is what we want. We have the choice. We already made the choice, and it's interoperable. So it will flow into your MBDCs, MCBDCs without a problem. So why don't you just let us use what we already have? So you see how that works? So whoever rolls it out first gets a choice. But if you don't roll yours out now, some supervisory body, whether it's the Bank of International Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, or the European Central Bank, is going to lean on you heavy. They're going to try to influence you to use what they deem is acceptable. And you will not have the choice. You're going to have to use the system or utilize the system that they're suggesting to you. So this is why you see so many nations and commercial banks in a rush to implement a digital currency on blockchain, utilizing these particular cryptocurrency rails. They want to do what's best for them. They don't want someone else to tell them whether they're a supervisor or not. They don't want to be told what they have to use. Okay, so let's continue on here. Monetary authorities the world over are amping up research and trials of central bank digital currencies. I just said that literally, according to the Atlantic Council CBDC tracker. Atlantic Council is a great place to go for CBDC tracker. You do have cbdctracker.com. I use that also. Then you have Atlantic Council, very good if you want to check them out. Okay, I utilize them very often. According to the Atlantic Council CBDC tracker, around 80 countries are actively exploring digital currencies backed by central banks. Most recently, in November, Nigeria launched the e-Naira, reportedly recording nearly 500,000 wallet downloads in its first 3 weeks. In October, the European Central Bank kicked off a 2-year experiment into a retail CBDC, one that can be used by consumers for making or receiving payments. Ukraine, too, has been laying the groundwork for the potential launch of an electronic hryvnia. In early July, the nation's parliament passed a law regulating payment methods that listed a future CBDC in the same category as cash or electronic money. In late July, President Zelensky signed into law a bill that would allow the NBU to issue a CBDC. So everything is moving very quickly. This is good progress. Stellar is doing an amazing job. You saw them just come out with Starlight, plus 1 million transactions per second between two parties. Keep that caveat in there, okay? I'm sure they're going to continue to develop on that. They're doing deals everywhere. You saw how they just took Africa by storm. All the different companies that are going to be leveraging Stellar in Africa, which is growing at an exponential rate. This is why so many companies and countries are trying to get into Africa right now while it's early. Same thing with Latin America, okay? But you have Algorand and Cello are very heavy in Latin America. But all of these banking coins are getting in early so that they can deeply ingrain themselves and grow with those systems, making themselves a normalized and necessary part of those systems. All right. So you grow with the system. That means your capital is growing with the system and the people are just used to utilizing the system. So it also makes upgrading very easy. That everyone will see how good these things work in those particular societies, businesses, large institutions. And when it's time to upgrade, they'll say, sure, we'll upgrade. Sure, we'll do more business with you. No problem. And as you see, a lot of the protocols have been getting upgraded. XRP being upgraded, RippleNet being upgraded, Stellar being upgraded. They must stay ahead of the legacy system. And believe me, the legacy system is behind the scenes trying to figure things out. How can they keep things the same? This is a fight. Don't you ever forget it. But let's get into some numbers here. Okay, let's just take a look at what type of numbers are coming out of the financial sector, well, the banking sector within the Ukraine. So I have a PDF here. This is the National Bank of Ukraine, and it is their annual report 2020. This is just going to give us an idea because they have some graphs here that give us an idea of how much money is flowing through the banking sector over there in Ukraine. Then once we have those numbers, of course, we're going to have to convert the hryvnia over to the US dollar. But then we'll have an idea of how much money could possibly, if everything goes according to plan. But if everything if everything goes according to plan, we'll have an idea of how much money coming out of that sector could be flowing through the Stellar blockchain, okay, the Stellar network. Now, let's go here. They have a little graph and it says banking sector profit 41.3 billion UAH. Now, what is that in US dollars? Let's go here. Let's take a look. So we have 43, we're just going to round it up to 43 billion, okay? 43 billion UAH translates to 1,592,000,000 US dollars. And that's in profit. Let's go here. Let's take another look. Banking sector regulatory capital is 182 billion UAH. We take a look here. How much is that in US dollars? $6,741,000,000. That's pretty good. Not bad at all. For one corridor, not bad at all. And that's good flow in and out if they're going to be sending all of that across the Stellar network. Now, who knows how much is going to actually make it onto the network? I'm just giving an example. You can extrapolate from there how much you believe is going to be flowing through the network, how little, that's up to you. Okay, we're just trying to get an estimate here. So now in deposits, we have a total of 837 billion UAH. What does that translate to in US dollars? $31 billion. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's a lot of money. And this is just, like I said, this is just one sector. We know how many deals Stellar has on the table. So these are good steps forward. That's a good amount of flow. We'll see how much transaction volume makes it across the Stellar network. Then we can get an idea of what the transaction value is. But all of these things that will be happening are cumulative. So let's keep that in sight, cumulative. So of course, it's going to take a little bit of patience, a lot of patience actually. And also it's going to take a lot of observation and calculation. So we will know how much cumulatively will be moving across the Stellar network. Then also we'll know how high that price can possibly go. Each person should get out their calculator at these different moments and start looking up things like this. How much money is flowing through these banks? How much money is flowing through these corridors? Start doing a little bit of mathematics. Then you can come up with an idea of where you believe that price is going to go. Then you're able to make an accurate estimation of where you might want to sell in the future when that price goes insanely parabolic. Okay, how long are you willing to hold for? How high do you personally think it can go? Because you have to have that final decision. It should be up to no one else. Don't listen to anyone else, but you should be making that final decision and trust in yourself. Let's go here. So we have a little bit more here. It says the upcoming pilot will serve as technological basis for the issuance of electronic money and is the next key step to advance innovation of payment and financial infrastructure in Ukraine. The statement also said that the pilot will test the use case for programmable payroll with employees at DIA. So that's very interesting. Like I said, so we're looking at a consistency of flow once everything is up and running. A consistency of flow of high transaction volume, I'm going to assume. I don't know what the population is there. That's something that we probably should look into as well. How transitory the population is. Are the people moving from one corridor to the next? How many people are in this particular region, right, that could possibly be utilizing this system? And then we can get an idea. We can just wait for the data to come out and then we'll know what the transaction volume is. And like I said, from that data, we also will know the average transaction value. Like I said, keep in mind, this is just one This is just one region, and it's looking very good. Everything is muy lindo, mi gente, muy lindo. It's going great right now. Absolutely fantastic. The future is bright. How good does it feel to be holding the banking coins and have that dip happen, right? There's still kind of in a dip. It looks like there's been a lot of traps lately. People putting in a little capital, right? Then a lot of people FOMO in. Then they sell on them. They do it again. It goes up a little bit. People start FOMOing in it. Oh, it might go up. Then they sell again. Be careful of all of those little traps, man. As a holder of the banking coins, none of that matters. When that price goes down, it's wonderful. I buy more, and I'm just going to keep accumulating and wait for mass adoption, regulatory clarity, and CBDCs and MBDCs, MCBDCs to be rolled out, and everything is going to be great. Muy linda, mi gente. Raise it tall. Just think about it. Look at everything. Look at what's happening. The IMF is under pressure. The Bank of International Settlements is under pressure. Here's the difference. The Bank of International Settlements is coming to everybody with a smile and saying, hey, this is unavoidable. We need to adopt this technology now. We need to integrate and start upgrading right now, or we're going to get left behind. And that's exactly what would happen. They would still exist with great power. However, NFBI's non-financial banking institutions would take a massive part of the financial markets of the world, because they're going to scoop up all of that unbanked money, all of that cross-border money. There's no reason that any company would not use them for cross-border payments, whether it's P2P or B2B. So the Bank of International Settlements is coming to everybody with a smile saying, hey, we need to do this now. The IMF is a little bit more stern, even though they're trying to move forward, but they're more under pressure, because I view what they're doing as they're concerned more about their power. It's less about money with them and more about their standing, okay? Where they, the position that they have in the world as an authority. This is why you saw what Stellar did in Africa and what happened yesterday and today. The IMF is in Africa trying to maintain good relations with their financial ministry, their financial consortium. You saw this, okay? So we're witnessing this. Everything is going very good. We have to keep an eye on these activities. All right. Mass adoption looks like it's inevitable. Although, like I said, the documents are saying 2 to 3 years. That's just an estimation. Nobody really knows. It depends on how fast they upgrade their systems and they're ready for mass integration. All right. Keep in mind, there's going to have to be an educational curve for the employees in this sector. The employees in this sector are not, they're just like us, okay? And a lot of times they're not really as motivated to learn something new as you or I would, who are actually in this financial technological field, okay? So there's a learning curve that is going to have to be ridden a little bit, and they're going to have to teach all of their employees how to utilize these new technologies and the benefits of them. There's going to be a lot of pushback. Now, we experienced some pushback before when the ideas from the Bank of International Settlements, IMF, and European Central Bank, when they started floating these ideas, we saw a lot of pushback within their own sectors, okay? Then we also saw some pushback and friction within the United States federal government, because we have some people that were pro adopting the new technologies and banking coins. Then we had some people that were against adopting the banking coins. So that was a little pushback. That's very different than when the technology is at your front door and ready to be utilized, and you have supervisory entities telling you you have to do it now. That's a different type of pressure. Let's see what happens with that. We'll keep an eye on that, because that's when institutions start to, and legacy institutions like to fight back the hardest. That's the hardest part to get over, in my humble opinion. So we'll keep an eye on the developments that are coming. Everyone keep doing your research, keep doing your detective work. A lot of people on this channel are becoming great detectives. They have their pen and their pad out. They're doing research. They're finding articles. They're finding tweets. They're analyzing data. They're doing better than ever here on this channel. And everybody helps each other out in the comment section, especially in the community tab. So let's continue that, and let's continue to become better and better researchers. That's going to tell us where the catalysts are, and that's why we will, in my humble opinion, it's not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. But in my humble opinion, that's why we will be so filthy rich, because we did all the work we needed to do. We saw with clarity, okay? We searched out for the catalyst. We knew what to look for. We knew what was coming, and we continue to work wisely, and we continue to work hard as researchers. And so I'm very proud of everyone on this channel for doing what it is that they do. And now that you have all that information, now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. Oh, I know what I'm going to do with it, because in the next few months, I'm looking to hear if they seal some more deals. I'm looking to hear some very big catalyst, some very big news. We'll see what happens though. Let's keep cheering the Stellar Development Foundation on. They're doing a great job. Keep tweeting at them to do well. Listen, they read these tweets. Trust me, I know this. They read these tweets and they reach out, and keep motivating them, firing them up, and let's hope they keep doing well. Tweet at Danelle Dixon, follow Danelle Dixon, encourage her, encourage the Stellar Foundation, Algorand Foundation, Ripple, because these companies stand to make us disgustingly rich. Now that you have that information, what are you going to do with it? I know what I'm going to do with it. So until next time, let's get to the money.